Okay, so there were multiple times where I thought that I don't even, like, that's the thing about it that I want to emphasize and that I want soon-to-be moms to know ahead of time, so that if it happens to them, hopefully they can recognize it. But it's like, it's such a lie in your head, but it's such a good lie, or a terrible lie, but like it's so deceptive in your head because you're messed up that you don't see it, and then like you don't see how crazy it is at the time, the way you're feeling. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, and there's a lot of things to talk about, so if it's long, I'm not going to cut it down for the sake of cutting a video down, but I will try to not blabber too much. I had a baby in August of 2017. It is 2019 right now, and I probably filmed this video like 2018 some point. So like maybe when he was 6 or 7 months old, I filmed this video. I am making this video for the sake of every new parent and new mom and just person that struggles with like mental struggles and stuff, and like the literal thing that the one thing that I want you to know is that you're not alone. Like, period. So many people struggle with anxiety and depression. It has so many different dynamics to it. So many people experience it differently. If you are a mom, if you just had a baby, or if you have never had kids and you're never gonna have kids and you're still struggling mentally, but especially if you're a new mom and you're struggling, just know that you're not alone at all. There are so many people that have been through it, that are on the other side of it, like I think I really am right now, that know exactly what you're struggling with, and you're a doctor or therapist. I mean, there's so many people that can help you. Just know that I know what you're going through and you're not alone. So, wanted to start off with that, and that's the reason why I'm making this video. To care for another helpless little being that's totally dependent on you while being literally screwed up in the head. I mean, like, messed up. All of the demands that having a newborn and having a baby that is so reliant on you to be taking care of that little human while you are like so messed up in your mind that it'd be hard enough to just take care of yourself, while adjusting to the demands and the stresses and the pressures from everyone and from yourself of being a new mom or a new parent. To get through that, or to be fighting through that like day by day, you are a freaking warrior. I don't know what I had a different word written down there, but Taylor told me that I probably shouldn't swear in a YouTube video. You are strong, even though it makes you feel like utterly weak. It like to your core makes you feel so messed up. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm talking fairly quietly because people in my house are sleeping. Postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, but especially depression, is something that is so weird because it's like two sides pulling on each other at all times. Society expects you, and you expect yourself, to have like the most tired time, but the best time of your life when your baby's born. Like your whole life. You think, I'm gonna have kids, and holy cow, I'm gonna have a kid. Like, so to have mental issues and kind of mental struggles, that's a better word, during this time that's supposed to be so blissful and so perfect and great, it's like this constant pull. It's something that's so weird. So it feels weird to talk about. I feel like it's like a whole different level or subcategory of depression. I made this video a long time ago, but I was still in the thick of it. I wasn't really in the thick of it, but I was not good really mentally when I filmed it, even though I thought I was. And that is the whole kicker. That's a whole kicker to this stupid thing that exists. It is that when you are in it, it's so hard to see it yourself. You need people around you to recognize that something is wrong with you without necessarily you recognizing it. If you see it, that's like awesome, and that's why I'm trying to maybe make this video to like bring some awareness to it, so that if you see signs of being stressed and stuff that I'll go over and overwhelmed, you can recognize that that's not normal and get help. But when you are in it, it is so hard to know how badly you're in it. I had no concept of how bad of a state my mind was in 2 months to 4 months to 2 weeks after my kid was born. So much so that was so bad. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it was so bad that 6 months later, you know, 6 months after he was born, 6, 7, 8 months, when I filmed that, I thought I was in a good headspace. And looking back and knowing where I'm at now, I know I was not at all. It's a whole slew of things put together, and it's never ever on one person, and it's never someone's fault. Ever. Okay. So I'll get into my story really, I'm gonna go through it fairly quickly. Before I get to that, I wanted to make this one point. If you or anyone you know, and you need to keep your eyes out for new moms, and you're struggling to adjust, I have written down, or you're feeling overwhelmed, or like you can't handle it, or like you can't, like you're not gonna be good enough, or you're not good enough, or you're not enough, or like it's just so overwhelming, or you're anxious about things, you're super stressed all the time, but basically that you just feel like you can't keep up, and it constantly is bringing you down or getting in your head, or you think you're not going to be good enough for your baby, or you're not enough for your baby because of your mental struggles at the time, that is postpartum depression. There's this thing called baby blues, and that's right after you have a baby. Your hormones are just like insane. Like they just drop, and they're crazy because of your body and the chemicals and the hormones and everything. It's fairly normal for, I think, like every mom, if you have the baby blues for like, I thought they said 3 days at first, but maybe it was like a week or two. But to just be like kind of sad for like no reason, like you're just crying over like the mailman bringing the mail or a sad commercial or something like that, that's normal. That's what they told me. It's normal to feel that over just random stuff, and to just feel sad or feel so happy that you're crying because of your baby, your new baby. That's normal. After that, it escalates and it builds and it turns into like, it's not that I was sitting around crying for 1.5 years. Postpartum depression, at least for me in my experience, it was like it was being so overwhelmed that I was angry and down all the time. I don't like talking about it. I mean, I do, but I don't like going back to it because I'm past it, and I'm so glad that I got through it. I don't know what I want to say. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my story. I had Beckham in August, and all of these things that came up made me realize that I've kind of struggled with depression and anxiety to a small degree, like fairly low scale, kind of throughout my life, but not badly, and it was just kind of in waves. But I think it's in my genes, and that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Maybe I'll try to remember to talk about. It just made me realize that before I had Beckham, I still had some issues, and having Beckham, I can't ever get this word right, is that exacerbated, made worse what I had before. And that is a thing. If you struggle with that before a baby, it's more likely that you're going to have postpartum depression. and I just didn't notice it. I just didn't realize what it was. Then I had Beckham in August, and I had a lot going on. I had a very surreal pregnancy. I never thought I was going to be able to get pregnant. I got pregnant and it was just surreal. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. It was so weird and kind of like harmful. Like I could not wrap, when I went into labor, I didn't think that I was like really going to have a baby. Like I still can picture being in the bathroom, putting on the robe. I didn't actually think that I was going to push out a human that day. I don't know. It's so weird and it messed with me so much. I think my mind's a little crazy. So having such a surreal pregnancy, all of a sudden I'm hit with taking care of a little baby who's just this perfect little being, but had a few issues that caused even more problems. I just had a really hard time adjusting as a mom. I say that a lot in my videos, but I mean it. Like I just didn't adjust well. I don't adjust well to change. I don't like change. Obviously change happens to everybody and I'm getting better at growing with it and but I don't like change. I like schedules. I like set stuff. I don't like adapting to change. So it was a big shock to me. Shock is a good word. So I was pretty like weepy. I don't like that word at all. I laid on my parents' couch just crying. But the worst time I can think of 2 times that make me just sink as a human. He was maybe like 2 weeks old. He had more like issues breastfeeding to the point where I was in pain and I didn't think I could do that. It was a bad situation. I was at home and Taylor had to go back to work after only 2 weeks of him being alive. And I don't think that's right in America either. I needed him for way longer than that. Even just a little bit longer than that would have been nice. I remember he was in this little poo romper and it was green, and it was a hard day. They were pretty much all hard days. They were great days because I got to cuddle with my baby. But it was kind of a hard day, and I remember Taylor came home and I just started to have a hard time, and I told him that I really truly deep down thought that Beckham would be better off without me there. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why that, like, I don't know why those lies are put in your head as a mom, as a new mom. I don't know. I cry all the time, it's okay. I just remember that one little outfit. I saw a picture, I took pictures of him on that day, and I still look at that outfit and I just know how I felt at the time, and it was really hard. That's the thing about it that I want to emphasize and that I want soon-to-be moms to know ahead of time, so that if it happens to them, hopefully they can recognize it. But it's like, it's such a lie in your head, but it's such a good lie, or a terrible lie, but like it's so deceptive in your head because you're messed up that you don't see it, and then like you don't see how crazy it is at the time, the way you're feeling. I don't even know the words to describe it. There were multiple times where I felt that like I'm not handling this, like I can't handle this right now. I'm not handling it well. Like Beckham would be better off with another woman as his mom, or another person taking care of him, and I like can't, like I wasn't ever like suicidal to a real extent. I would never do that. But I just didn't think my life like could go on, or like should go on. I didn't know how to function. I was pushing everyone away. I didn't accept help from anybody. and that's a sign. I was so controlling and obsessive and anxiety like ridden in terms of like anything happening to Beckham, and making sure I was using the right soap, and if certain soaps had certain chemicals in them. And I don't even know if he was sleeping. I was afraid he was gonna die from SIDS. I still get worried about a lot of things, but there was just anxiety was crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I was just a crazy person. It sounds like insensitive to say that, but most new parents, I think every new parent is somewhat of a crazy person, because this little newborn is keeping you up all night. You're sleep deprived. You have to adjust, whether it's your 5th baby or your 1st. You have to adjust to this life of another weird sleep schedule while maybe dealing with a toddler, or just a weird sleep schedule and learning things with a new baby that you never had to do before. So to an extent, everyone's crazy after they have a baby. But this like is just a whole different level, and it's a really weird, deceptive thing. I want everyone to know what it's like, how to recognize it, how to help. I'm not making this video at all to inflict fear in any of your minds. It's really hard because it's a scary thing to feel that way after you have a baby, or to be scared of that happening to you. I was aware of it maybe happening to me. I knew that it happened, but I didn't know what it was like. And so I don't want to ever scare anybody, but I feel like, now I've said this a billion times, knowledge is power. So knowing what to expect or what could happen or all of these different things helps you to recognize it, because it's sneaky. It's so sneaky, but it's so big, and it takes over your life, but it's just a little... So that's my story. I had that one, and then Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve was supposed to be this happy, I love Christmas Eve, but Christmas Eve was a bad night. That first Christmas Eve, my first Christmas Eve and Christmas with a baby, I was so mean to Taylor. He took so much crap from me because I spewed it on him. I mean, that's another sign of it, is just like anger. So this Christmas Eve thing, I was stressed, overwhelmed, crying, mad, angry, yelling, trying to feed a baby, trying to get to the Christmas Eve service on time. I remember it clearly, sitting in Beckham's rocking chair in his room and looking over, and Taylor was probably like laying there with Beckham or getting Beckham ready or something, and just thinking to myself, this is not what Christmas Eve is supposed to be like. And then getting home and Beckham was sleeping, and I just had a long talk with Taylor about how I should probably get help, and then I never got help because I thought I got through it, and I wasn't through it. So those are the 2 times that I can really think of. Maybe I'll make a video on this in the future, or just talk about like how to help moms. But a few of my last things that I wanted to finish with are, 1, if you struggle with depression or anxiety or mental struggles before having a baby, it can make you more likely to struggle with postpartum depression or anxiety. Recognize whether you've maybe had those struggles in the past, talk to your doctor about it. Second of all, if you have depression or anxiety or suicide or anything like that in your family, in your genes, like it literally is the way your body and in your mind deals with the chemicals and the hormones and processes them and neurotransmitters and all that crazy stuff. It's a gene thing, which is why it drives me nuts when people say choose joy, because I'm trying, but my genes aren't letting me be happy right now. Genes are crazy. They're crazy things. If you have any of that in your family, talk to your doctor. Your doctor needs to know that. It needs to be in your chart. My kids will know what I struggled with. My kids will know what I struggled with at the time. My kids will know that they are more likely to struggle with mental issues because of me, because of their genes. I'm not afraid to talk about it if people ask me. I just cry the whole time. The last main gist is to never, ever, ever, everyone says this, and when you're in the thick of it, you don't listen. Some of the times you don't listen, you're stubborn like me. Never, ever, 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 ever be afraid to ask for help or get help. I don't know why, but it felt like such a weak move, or I knew I'd cry the whole time at the appointment and stuff like that, to go and see my doctor. I don't know why. Why would that seem like a weak move? That's like the strongest move you can take to make better changes for yourself and for your baby. So never ever feel afraid to go and get help from your doctor. They're there for that. They know that this is a medical thing that happens to moms. It's not your fault. There's nothing that you could have done to change whether you have it or not. Breastfeeding issues make it worse. Your genes make it worse. Circumstances that you're struggling with. Your brain makes it worse. There's not anything that you did wrong in order to make you feel this way. So going to the doctor and saying that you're struggling is nothing on you. If anything, it's just showing that you're strong enough to say, I need help. And I wish I would have done that. If I have any issues ever in the future, whether I'm pregnant or I'm breastfeeding, I will not hesitate to get a doctor. I refuse to go through that again. I will get help, and I hope that if you're struggling with it, you get help too. Life is a lot easier right now, so I think that that contributes to it, but I am finally, as of maybe February of 2019, I am in a good spot. Head-wise. I feel great. Finally. Coincidentally, I stopped nursing in January. So I don't know if it's the breastfeeding hormones. I don't know what it is, but I feel great. I don't look like it right now, but I definitely don't look like it right now. What the heck is wrong with my hair? I finally feel good after 17 months. It probably got out of the really bad stuff when he was 6 or 7 months, maybe when that winter ended. Iowa winter with a newborn and postpartum depression was not cool. So maybe last spring was probably when it got better. I still struggle with anxiety a lot. I'm a control freak and obsessive, so I don't know that part's gone. Yeah, that's my story. That's my little post in the internet of my mind. Everyone hates when I say this at the end of my videos. Even after going through all of this, Beckham was so worth it. He was so worth it, and I would never ever, and I said I refused earlier to go through it again mental wise, but I would do it again for him. 1, knowing that I can get through it because I did. 2, knowing that I can get through it because I would get help next time. But 3, just he's just worth it. I never want Beckham to feel guilty for it. It's my mind, and he was worth the world. I would do it again for him, and I love him. So, stop talking before I cry some more, but that's just my story. And if you want to see more mom videos, make sure to check out my channel and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.